Hi everyone! Today we're going to talk about fixing someone else's work. And no matter how much you don't like doing it, it's a necessary evil. And when you do it properly, you're going to earn a client for a lifetime. Now these nails are misshapen, lumpy, bumpy, crooked, you name it. And I'm going to show you how to turn them from funked up to fabulous. I had already started working before I said, you know what, I have got to get this on film because I hadn't had someone come in with someone else's work in a long time. So I had already filed the other hand, and now I'm starting on her left hand. You always want to have the same routine on every single finger. You're going to file the sidewalls, you're going to go around the cuticle, you're going to file the free edge, you're going to go across the top to blend in where the acrylic is meeting the natural nail. You can see there's a little, I always look down the nail so you can see the shape to make sure it's symmetrical on both the left and the right. And I always hold the finger up and use a sweeping arching motion with the file to make sure that it's nice and even. Now I'm just blending where that acrylic at the baseline is still not blended with the natural nail. You can always tell when it's not blended because it builds up a little line of dust, and you just have to keep lightly blending until that thick layer of dust disappears. So on this side nail we're going to do the sidewalls because you'll get overwhelmed. You think, oh my gosh, how am I ever going to make this look right? You just have to follow your routine. This nail, you can see I only had to shorten the left side of it because the right side of it had been like filed off already. So now I'm blending along the cuticle line, and then I have to get off thickness, and you can tell, watch the shadows. See the white dust it just made? That's all the high spots. And then I'm just kind of going slow so you can see where it's still pink at the back. That's a really low spot. So these acrylic nails are so lumpy and bumpy, it was crazy. So you might have to spend a couple of extra minutes filing at the beginning, but then after you apply the acrylic, it's going to be very easy to file at the end of the nail service. So on this next finger, you're going to see me hold the nail file up to the free edge, and I'm going to show you how crooked it is. See where I go up to the right? That whole side of the fingernail file is just filed off. So you want to shorten it until it's nice and even. Get any acrylic off the sidewalls and go around the cuticle. You want it to blend nicely with the natural nail. Always make a mental note of where the highest spots are. You may have to spend an extra 20 or 30 seconds on the left side or the right side. Now all of that really weird white stuff that you see in it, someone had filled over gel polish. So that's embedded into the acrylic, and I can't get that off. So eventually she may get a new set, but when someone comes in scheduled for a fill, you don't send them home. You don't want to waste your time. Just fill them, they'll be thankful, and they'll be back. Now on this nail, you can see that shiny part in the middle really well, and that's the embedded gel polish. I'm tapering the tip of the nail. You can kind of see that discoloration disappearing and the white nail dust coming. You want to keep filing until everything is the same color of dust. And I just pointed to that buildup back in the back corner. When there's a big line of white dust, you've got a ledge, and you need to just keep lightly buffing it down until it's blended into the natural nail. You can also let someone know when they come in with someone's work that didn't do the best job, that you're going to do the best job that you can, but it's not going to be perfect. But you can assure them that at their next service that you will get their nails as perfect looking to your work as you can. And if they want to soak their nails off before they come in, then you could even give them a new full set. This nail, you can see how thick the end of it is. It's going to take a little bit of extra work. And when you only have a certain amount of time scheduled for a fill, you can't let yourself get caught up on details like this. You need to shape it as great as you can and, you know, file down, taper the thickness a little bit at the tip. But if you don't have time, then you'll get it on the next fill. Never spend too much time at the beginning, because after you apply the acrylic, you're going to be filing a little bit anyway, and at that time you can determine how much time you have left for the service, and then you can taper them a little bit more. So here I'm just dusting off the nails really well, getting the dust down out of the creases and crevices, because you cannot have any dust left on the nail plate or the acrylic won't adhere well. We're going to apply one coat of primer only to the natural nail. You can't and should not apply primer over top of the acrylic because it will cause it to yellow. And then I always apply 2 coats. The second coat goes on right before you apply the bead of acrylic, because you want that prime to be wet when you apply the acrylic so that it adheres really well. So now I'm going to set my bead of acrylic about 1 millimeter away from the cuticle, and I'm just going to walk it up the edges and then lightly press and pull forward. You don't need a lot of pressure when you're putting acrylic where it needs to go. Trying to zoom in so you can see really well. On some of the images, they do look a little blurry to me, but maybe that's just because I don't have my glasses on this morning. I don't know. So when I say I'm going to walk it up, that's what I'm doing. I use the tip and the side of my brush. The brush cannot touch the nail plate before the acrylic does. It ruins the adhesion between the acrylic and the primer. So there's a missing side of this nail. So I'm applying a ball of acrylic and I'm just walking it up the side to make it symmetrical. If you're really careful, you can get away with hardly ever having to use a nail form if you don't have to do any amount of length on a nail. So there's that second layer of primer. There's your ball of acrylic. You're going to press it down. Use the tip and the side of the brush to walk it up the side. So when I apply this ball of acrylic, I want you to carefully watch the left tip And see how I'm just pushing a tiny bit of acrylic over? You need to balance the nail because when it grows up, it's in a completely different place. So acrylic needs to go on the sides as well as at the base of the nail. So you're going to use very little pressure when you're tapping and pressing. If you press too hard, the acrylic will actually get embedded into your nail bristles and start to dry, and by the end of your fill service, you'll start getting these little lines when you pull down your brush, and it's because acrylic has already hardened in the bristles of your brush. So this nail on the right hand side has a great big divot out of it. So I'm going to apply my first ball of acrylic, and then I'm going to apply a tiny bit more to fill in that gap. You can always add more acrylic. See how I look down it? You can see there's like a dip on the right hand side of the nail. You don't want to apply too much at the beginning, because if you apply too much, it's harder to file acrylic off than it is to add more acrylic. So apply it thin and small and blend it in, and then add a little bit more. And one thing that I always say is the slower you go, the faster you'll be done, because the more careful you are, the less mistakes you make, and the less filing you have to do. I don't know if any of you have ever been in a hurry and you're trying to rush, and you just get further behind. So if you just keep calm, follow the steps, keep your routine, you'll get done faster. There I held up the file so you could see the big missing edge that was on that nail. So I'm going to add a ball of acrylic, and I'm just going to create that edge. And if you do it carefully, you don't have to use a nail form. Very little pressure. I'm just barely touching that acrylic with the tip of the brush. Just little baby taps. Now I just show you the file again so you can see that now it's a straight line, and any other imperfection I'll fix in the filing. And always look down the nail so you can make sure that it's nice and symmetrical and even. When I picked up this bottle of acrylic, you can see there's a little teeny tiny hard dry piece of acrylic in it. You need to get that out. It's time to file. We're going to follow the exact same steps as we did in the beginning. We're going to file the sidewalls. You want to make sure there is 0 acrylic adhered to the skin. You're going to go across the free edge to make your shape perfected, around the cuticle, and then we're going to go across the nail in that sweeping motion to make the nail nice and even. And we're going to do this to all 10 nails. I want you to watch my thumb. I scoot it up very, very close when I start to go around the cuticle because I don't want the nail file to hit her skin. If I'm gonna slip, I want the file to hit my thumb. So it's kind of like a guardrail, and it's keeping my file nice and close so her skin's protected. Next, we're going to buff the nails with a 240 grit buffer file. The file is sanitizable, so after every client you should spray it with 99% alcohol and use your nail brush to scrub out any of the embedded dust that's in the file. And you'll see me feeling the all of the nails with my thumb all of the time because I'm feeling for any lumps, bumps, imperfections. You can always see more with your thumb than you can with your eyes. I'm using gel polish to polish your nails. You want to fan the bristles out really wide. You got to put a lot of pressure downward and then scoot it back as close to the cuticle as you can get it and then draw the bristles forward. You want a nice thin coat of polish. See how I fan the bristles out really good? You want the polish just to transfer from the bristles of the brush to the nail plate. You don't want any thickness of polish on there. I was a little worried. This is Vegas Nights of the Gelish brand, and I was worried it wasn't going to cover it with that gel polish embedded into the acrylic, but you can't really see it when we're all done, so thank goodness. And next I'm just going to do a little swirl nail art design. I'm using a number 10 brush and just gel polish. And I know I didn't say this earlier. Excuse my hideous nails. I'm in between getting my non-dominant hand done. I tried to file most of it off, but I just ran out of time. hope after watching this video that you feel a little less anxious about filling somebody else's jacked up work. But if you do, I promise you, you will earn a client for a lifetime. So thanks for watching, and please share my videos if you enjoyed them, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thanks a lot and have a great day.